Hello, my name's Alex Sachs with Canon U.S.A, and I'm here at Canon Burbank with the brand new EOS R5 C, the first true hybrid photo and video camera from Canon. This camera is incredible and it has a lot of really outstanding features. If you're somebody who wants to do photo and video, the EOS R5 C is the camera you should be looking at. It has two different brains inside of the camera. It's got a full 45 megapixel still camera, just like the EOS R5 that everyone uses and loves. But when you flip it over to the video side, you've got the full Cinema EOS menu inside of it with all of the great different features that you use with the Cinema EOS product, including waveform monitoring, peaking, markers, time code, oversampled 8K video for 4K and HD, improving all those little issues that you get with jaggies and sometimes moire. When you're oversampling with the high resolution sensor for 4K or HD, a lot of that is gone. So it's a camera that you really can use for both. If you're someone who shoots concerts, if you shoot weddings, corporate video, anything where you have a demand where you have to do high quality stills and high quality video, this might be the camera that's perfect for what you're doing. We know there's a lot of customers who do social media content who are looking for a one-man band or one-woman band who wants to do all of those things together. And this right here is that perfect product. Because before, when you would use an R5, it had great video inside of it, but it wasn't really engineered for video. Or on the other side, if you use one of our cinema products like the C500 Mark II, the C70, 300 Mark III, 200, it didn't do any kind of still quality that most people were looking for. You could do frame grabs, but it wasn't really something you'd use for professional stills. So you really had to have two different cameras. Now we've taken both of those really great feature sets from both of the cameras and we've put it in one small compact body that just does so many amazing things inside of it. So the headline feature is that 8K 60p RAW full frame recording. And that's really important because you're not cropping the sensor or anything like that if you want to do that top level feature. So internal RAW to the CF Express card, no cropping, 8K 60p. But you can also do an oversampled 4K. It'll do 4K 120 frames per second in the XF AVC codec. If you're someone who wants to do H.265, the camera is capable of doing that as well. And then if you need to just flip it over to the still side and do amazing 45 megapixel stills, you've got that as well. So the real amazing thing about the camera is the RF mount, the power of the RF mount, because you can adapt it to put almost any type of lens that you want to put on the camera. So Canon makes the RF to EF adapter, which we have several different versions of that, including ones with NDs, polarizers, the control ring, or just a straight EF to RF adapter if you want to use the older lenses. There's also third-party companies that make RF to PL adapters. So if you want to put anamorphic, if you want to put vintage Canon K35 lenses, which are very popular on this camera, you can take full advantage of that 8K sensor while still using some of those other lenses. But the camera, if you're going to use it for autofocus or if you're going to do any kind of stabilization, you're going to want to use the Canon RF lenses because there's just more pins between the lens and the camera, and really it's just more lanes on the highway. It's a much better communication between lens and camera. It's going to really perform a lot better. The glass looks amazing. What we've got on the camera right now is the new 15 to 35 2.8 with IS. And if you think about it, our EF lenses, we had the 16 to 35, and you could either get the IS with an f4 or the 2.8 with no IS. And because of the advancement of the RF mount, Canon was able to do 15 to 35, so 1 millimeter wider, 2.8 NIS all in one lens package. So one of those things where if you like to do a lot of wide angle stuff, especially on a full frame camera, really great combo. Some really solid things that I love about this camera is just the nuance of it. And that's really something that doesn't get talked a lot about when you're using a cinema product or something that you want to highlight the features on. And a lot of people who actually are shooting in the field will agree with this. You really need things that are going to make shooting easier while you're on set. You want a product that's going to make your on-set experience a lot easier. You want it to move fast. If you've got clients on set, you're going to need certain types of features on a product that you might not get from just a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. But you also still may need the option very quickly to switch over to photo. So one of the things I love about this product and our cinema products is you can program the buttons. And you can do that on the mirrorless and the DSLR, but there's really an amazing feature set on here that you can now put to any button with a number. It's actually a really simple trick. I'll show you how to do it. If you hold the menu button and push any button with a number, you can reprogram it immediately to kind of almost anything the camera can do. So one thing I like to have on hand is a 1-button push to switch to my markers, which you can set to either 9:16 or 235 if you're doing anamorphic cropping. So I like to be able to have that while I'm framing on set, so that way I know exactly what I'm going to want to do when I crop it in post, or if I'm doing something for vertical video, either for Reels or for TikTok, or sometimes we have customers who are shooting for vertical displaying in retail stores, something you see in jewelry stores. You can actually hit a button and get the marker for 9:16, and it'll actually mask out the left and right. So you can really hone in on exactly what you want to frame, because a lot of people will know, if you've ever tried to do this, taking a 9:16 or 16:9 widescreen video and cropping it, sometimes you need to be a little bit wider and it doesn't always translate. So it's nice to have that thing. Again, it's just another thing to have in the toolbox, just in case your client or you have a creative demand for it on set. The other thing I like with the programmable buttons, we now have, and this is something we've had in our cinema products for a little while, a 1-button switch to slow motion. Now this is something that we've wanted in our cameras for a long time on the still side, and we've brought to the cinema side with the C200, C300 Mark III, C500 Mark II, C70. Such a great convenience. 1-button push, and you can make it anything you want that has a number to go directly to 4K 120 if that's what you want, 4K 60, and kind of a lot of other frame rates in between there. So if you're someone who's shooting documentary or wedding and you need to quickly go from your normal motion, which could either be 23:9:8 or 29:9:7, and very quickly switch to 120 frames, it's a 1-button push now. And it's a 1-button push to go back. And it keeps all your settings. So again, it's just these little tiny things that make shooting on set easier, makes you more flexible when you're on set, and just makes the job a lot simpler. So those are the things that sometimes don't always get talked about, but something that when you pick up the camera and start playing with it, you're going to see that it actually has a lot of capabilities in terms of what you can do on the cinema side of things. The camera is obviously capable of RAW, but it can also do the XF AVC 422 10-bit, even up to the 4K 120, so you don't have to switch to a different codec or anything like that to do the high speed. It can do all of that internally to the CF Express or the SD card. It has a timecode slot on the side of it, so if that's something that you need to sync to other cameras, it will require an adapter cable, but you are able to go directly into that and sync cameras with timecode, which again is something that most cinema cameras have, but most DSLR and mirrorless cameras do not. And that's something that sometimes is hard if you're on set and you just want to have an additional camera to match with your cinema style bodies. The camera has always been a little challenging. You maybe had to sync it in post, or clap your hands or use a slate, just like techniques that have been used for years. Now you've got the time code, and it just makes it so much easier for post-production to sync all those things. So again, when you're thinking about a cinema camera, yes, the DSLRs and mirrorless do great video, but they don't always have those nuance and that feature set that you really need when you're shooting. And this camera has all of that, plus that incredible 45 megapixel still camera brain inside of it. So there's a lot of other things on this camera that you can do. I highly encourage you to go to any of your dealers or just watch any of the launch videos or go to our website for more information. The camera's incredible. And if you're someone who's maybe not even looking for 8K RAW right now, sometimes I hear that from people, oh, I don't do that. Well, utilizing the 8K sensor, it can oversample your 4K and your HD. And what that means is it still uses every single 8K pixel on the sensor, but creates a 4K or an HD image. So you're still getting all of that great information, just kind of being pushed down into a 4K or an HD resolution. So it's making better 4K and better HD. So just something to think about. If you're someone who isn't thinking they need that 8K RAW internally, that's totally fine. This camera can still improve what you're already doing. So I would highly encourage you to check out the EOS R5 C, the first true hybrid camera from Canon. It's incredible. 8K full frame 60p RAW recording is that highlight spec, but it does so much more. Thank you so much for your time.